She felt the urge to sing too. She stood up, walked forward and started singing. Her voice sweet and melodious, echoing through the compound. She sang and sang, but as she was singing, she saw a shadow pass. She paused, thinking it was a spirit, just as she had heard from her mother's story. Adako and Ikemefuna have been married for 9 years without a child. They lived happily, but not fulfilled. They have tried everything they could, but nothing worked. Ikemefuna's younger brother, Nnamdi, who married 5 years after him, already have 3 children. Nnamdi's wife, Ndidi, made it a point of duty to use her own children to mock Adako's childlessness. Whenever Adako bought something for them from the market, Ndidi would snatch it and throw it away in her presence, saying, "You want to poison my children so I can be childless like you?" For 9 years, Adako wet her pillow with her tears. But for that 9 years, she kept her hope alive. On the 10th year, something changed. Yes, Adako got pregnant. Ikem's happiness knows no bound. He pampered Adako, carrying her like an egg. Nnamdi was happy for his brother's family, but Ndidi was not. She didn't even pretend. She would sometimes say to Adako, "It's not by getting pregnant, but birthing a healthy baby. After all, a witch can never produce anything good." But Adako would smile and ignore her, too happy to be sad. 9 months later, Adako gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The joy in Ikem's heart multiplied. His brother Nnamdi rejoiced with him, helping him attend to visitors, while Ndidi's bitterness deepened. She was so angry that even the sound of crickets at night irritates her. The arrival of the new baby brought good luck to her parents. Even Nnamdi shared in the good luck. The baby, whose name was Onyinye, meaning gift of God, was beautiful, with a caramel and shiny skin. But she had a disability. She was blind. When Ndidi found out, she started mocking Adako and her daughter, calling them the Bat family. This made Adako so sad, and she decided to keep her daughter indoor always, so as to avoid the mocking laughter of Ndidi and some villagers from affecting her daughter. Though Onyinye was blind, she was outspoken and wiser than most of her mates. Years later, and Onyinye was still blind. One night, Onyinye sat outside alone, listening to the bird sing. She felt the urge to sing too. She stood up, walked forward and started singing. Her voice sweet and melodious, echoing through the compound. She sang and sang, but as she was singing, she saw a shadow pass. She paused, thinking it was a spirit, just as she had heard from her mother's story. She blinked and looked around, and for the first time since she was born, she saw her father's house under the moonlight. At first, she was confused. Mixed with excitement, she entered her father's house without her walking aid. When Adako saw her entering the house without her walking aid, she ran to hold her and was shocked when she touched her face, looking directly at her face. "You are beautiful, Mama," she said to her. Onyinye told her mother what she discovered, and Adako clapped and danced in excitement after confirming it. Her clapping attracted the neighbors, and she broke the good news to them. The next morning, Onyinye woke up but was disappointed when she realized she still couldn't see. The villagers laughed at them, and Ndidi laughed the loudest. They thought Adako lied to them, and the mockery increased. They called her mad. Some said she was a dreamer, But surprisingly, that night, Onyinye's eyes opened. She could see again. This time, Adako decided to keep it to themselves, not wanting to tell anyone. But the following morning, she was blind again, and the cycle continued. Soon, the villagers got to know through Ndidi, and they started avoiding Ikemefuna and his family. One day, it was on the village market day. Ikemefuna, who sells meat at their village market, was set to go to the market when he heard something that made him freeze. A song so ancient coming from the back of his house. He traced the voice and was even more shocked to see his daughter singing it. That song was known by only one person, and that was his late grandfather. Growing up, Ikemefuna was closer to his grandfather, and he usually sings the song. Whenever he sings the song, he feels goosebumps all over his body. He once asked his grandfather while he sings and where he learnt it from, and his grandfather would always reply him, "It's from the spirit, my child. I don't need any human to teach me. It is laid in my heart." When he asked if he could sing with his grandfather, he told him that no human can sing it unless you are chosen. When he heard the same song that morning, he was shocked. He stood and watched his daughter until she finished. He went closer to her and touched her, saying, "You are chosen." She smiled, nodded, and said, "Papa, please don't go to the market today." Ikemefuna listened and obeyed, as he knows that something powerful is speaking through her. 2 days later, Ikemefuna took his daughter alongside his wife Adako to a great diviner in a faraway village. And there, they were informed that Onyinye is gifted with the ability to see beyond human being. The diviner further told them that her blindness is her protection. Ikemefuna looked at his wife, both confused. The diviner, sensing their confusion, continued, "Her blindness is her protection, as she is not supposed to see evil under the sun, so that her gifts will not be corrupted. That was why her mortal eyes open only at night." Ikemefuna nodded and said, "Thank you, great one." That night, Ikemefuna sat outside with his wife and daughter, receiving natural air and discussing about life. As they talked, Onyinye started singing. When Ikem heard the song, he felt the goosebumps again. After some time, she stopped, looked at her father and then at her mother and said, "The charm backfired." Ikemefuna and Adako looked at each other. They have never been this confused in their entire life. Not long, they heard a loud scream coming from Nnamdi's house, and they ran to know what is happening. When they got to the entrance of Nnamdi's house, they were shocked to see Nnamdi, Ikemefuna's younger brother, lying on the floor, screaming and holding his right leg. Beside him was Ndidi, too afraid to go close to him. When Nnamdi and Miss Cream looked, his eyes met the glowing eyes of Onyinye, who smiled at him. He intensified his screams, begging for mercy, promising to never do it again. It happened that Nnamdi has always been jealous of his elder brother, and his jealousy increased when their grandfather, who was a seer, on his sick bed, told him that he will return, but through Ikemefuna. Knowing how the gift of seeing attracts respect and favor to a family, he seized Adaku's womb spiritually, causing her late conception. When Adako got pregnant, after 9 years, he got confused and more angry, but covered it with laughter and fake love. When Onyinye came, he feared that she might expose him, so he went to get a charm to destroy her gift and the charm backfired. Nnamdi confessed and asked for forgiveness, but instead of saying anything, Onyinye started singing. As she sang, Nnamdi screamed, and immediately she stopped. Nnamdi gave up the ghost. Ndidi, seeing everything, cried loudly, knelt before Onyinye, asking for forgiveness. Onyinye looked at her parents, who stood quietly at a corner, too shocked to say a word. She told Ndidi to stand up and further told her to get rid of the bitterness in her heart. Nnamdi was later buried, not out of respect, but out of duty. Ndidi, who was now a widow, got closer to Adako, seeking for her advice whenever the need arrives. She stopped spreading gossip and lies and started loving more. The moral lesson of this story is that a bitter heart will never produce any good but evil, and that destiny can delay but will never deny. Thank you for watching this story. What do you think about this story? Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, guys, please subscribe. It's free. Please. Thank you and remain blessed.